Welcome back to Real Community Talks, where real conversations with community influencers are made available to everyone. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and on today's episode, we have the dopest real estate agent in the GTA, my boy, Sheldon Douglas. Sheldon, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So for those who don't know who this guy is, if you're not graced to have his magnet on your fridge, because if you're in Malton and you don't, you know what? I wasn't going to say this, but you know how many, I'm that kind of person where I'm like, I'm in an important phone call. And I can't like open up my phone to type something. And what always comes clutch is real estate agent like notepads or stuff like that. But yours is the only one that I actually legitimately keep and actually care about. So
I appreciate that, man.
Like the man's on my fridge. But so for those who may not know who Sheldon is a real estate agent who works for ReMAX West under one of the most popular real estate teams, the Brij Team. He's an entrepreneur. He's an influencer. He's a motivational speaker. He's a recreation and leisure worker. He is a program and workshop facilitator. He's worked with and counseled multiple youth across the region of Peel. He's a graduate of Humber College's Police Foundations program. And lastly, he's a huge community advocate for Malton, Mississauga. So with that, why don't we start with the reason why everyone tuned in today. Sheldon, what are the markets looking like today?
Right now in real estate, it's actually considered to be a slower season for us so far. We are going to have a later spring, it looks like. Typically right now, it's supposed to be our busy season. But the market has slowed down because of all of the mortgage rules that are going on and the stress tests. And it's definitely affected the market. Yeah. But we do have a feeling that it will eventually will pick up. It's just a matter of time. But the great thing about right now, it's more so of a balanced market, right? So, before last year, it was more so of a seller's market where you sold your house in 4 days, 5 days, right? Now you have houses staying on the market for over 20 to 30 days, Jeez. Right? Yeah. So, wow. And it's weird because even though it's slower, prices are still climbing up, right? So the inventory is there. Right.
So summertime usually like June to like July is like when houses are popping like to buy and sell, or is it like more one or the other?
June, July is actually when the market usually calms down because what happens is it's the kids are out of school.
That's true.
People are going on vacation. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
The summer is focused on their children and getting themselves together for September, right?
Definitely.
And then what happens is the market picks back up around mid-September, going into October.
Yeah, for sure. So for those who don't know you individually or may just know you as their real estate agent, why don't you talk about your origin story? So who is Sheldon Douglas and where are you from?
Just a little bit about me. I'm from Toronto, Ontario. I was raised in Malton. Hey. I moved to Malton at 9. I was in my early years. I was actually living in Jane and Finch.
Okay.
And what happened was my mother wanted a better environment for us, so we moved to Malton. And since then, I've always been here.
Yeah. And you went to Lincoln and Alexander.
Yep.
Awesome. So going from Jane and Finch. So how old were you when you came to Malton?
9.
So I know everyone always says like there's that stigma that's over Jane and Finch similar to the way it is over Malton. So is it that similar, or are they like totally different communities?
I can see the similarities, but it's a totally different community. Where Jane and Finch, is more I guess more targeted towards violence.
Yeah.
Malton, we do have our periodic periods where you'll find us on the news or in the newspaper. But for the most part, you're living in a safe place. Yeah. Everyone pretty much knows each other. For me, in both neighborhoods, both environments, the only reason why you'd be in trouble if you're looking for trouble, right? If you're getting into that environment. Or you're in that atmosphere, then it's obviously gonna follow you, right? But if you just stay clean and keep your head straight, you're fine.
Yeah. So why do you think people stay in Malton? Not just as a real estate agent, but like why are you still here? You're still living in Malton, right? Why are you still here as a real estate agent, knowing all the different markets where you could be at? Why are you still here?
It's home. Like nothing's better than home, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I could be on a vacation in Jamaica or in Cuba.
True.
And like on the beach, and I still miss Malton. It's just what I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people here.
Yeah.
The community knows me. It just feels like organic being here, and just, you know, somewhere where I've been for a long time.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to get up and just leave. It's not like I'm looking for somewhere that it's gonna be extremely better than where I am.
True,
right?
true.
I feel like you can create, you know, your destiny in Malton if you really wanted to, right? It's just, you got to put yourself on a certain platform.
For sure.
Right?
So we talked about you going to Lincoln Alexander.
Yeah.
I remember we had this conversation once where, you know, in myself dealing with youth and being a youth worker, you could see two youth and you see a behavior, or you see two different types of behaviors, but you have no idea what's going on in the background. Yeah. And I remember how you were talking about how you had to mature and grow up earlier, because there were some nights where, like, your mom was working. I think it was like, was it at the patty shop or something like that?
Yeah,
you were,
mom used to work at patty.
You were going late,
yeah.
and then you were coming to school early, so you barely got like 2-3 hours of sleep some nights. So talk about that experience.
That was a crazy experience in our life. That's around the time when we just moved to Multan.
Yeah.
My mom was working 3 jobs, and she had to make the bills, right?
Yeah.
She has a mortgage and all the other bills that come with that, right? So she had to make sure she also put food on the table for me and my sister. So she did what she had to do to get us by, and it was a lot of sacrifice. So if that meant her driving the school bus and making sure she picks me up after school and I go with her, or working late nights at Patty World and I'm with her and I'm doing my homework while she's making patties, and then I'll just take a little nap until we go home, and then I'll take a little nap when I get home again, and then go to school. Wow. So, you know, at the age of 9-10 years old, I'm probably sleeping like 4 or 5 hours sometimes.
Wow.
And this is not even exaggerating.
That's crazy.
But I totally understood. You know, she made me aware of our situation.
Yeah.
And that definitely pushes me to this day. Like, sometimes, you know, you have to reflect on your past. Like, some people will tell you, like, you know, just forget about the past and just focus on going forward. Yeah, it's good to do that, but sometimes just thinking about your past just humbles you, right? And sometimes by reflecting, it gives you that urgency, that desire, that burning desire to, you know, be successful and move forward with your life.
Definitely.
So I do think it's important to
reflect
on your past sometimes.
So was it always that way? Like, I know for me myself, when I was younger, like, my parents said I couldn't get like the latest video games or all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But they never, even like when they were on social assistance and they were struggling, I never felt poor, because they always, I knew now when I'm older that they would sacrifice and they wouldn't eat some nights, maybe stuff like that. But like, did you ever feel like you were in a place, your family was in a place of struggle, or did, like, your mom always kind of, she got it? You
know, it's so funny. I never felt poor, but I was aware that, you know, we were in tough times. Yeah. You know, there was a couple of times where you wear the same clothes probably 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think my mom did her best to really have me and my sister fit into, like, so how society so-called calls normal. Yeah. Right, and making sure that we're wearing, you know, proper shoes, clean clothing, you know. You know, we were name brand as well. If you were to look at me as a child, you couldn't tell what we were going through at home, because number one, I would never speak about it, and number two, me and my sister always fit in.
For sure. So another cool thing that I like that we talked about before is when you were young and you were selling chocolates. And the reason I bring that up is because I feel like, and this is my opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of young men and young women who just have sales abilities from such a young age, whether it's selling chocolates. I've seen some kids, like when the fidget spinners were a craze, buying them for like $2 on eBay, flipping them for $10 in school. Talk about that experience and kind of how it maybe laid some foundations for your ability to sell today.
You know what? Before I get into that, there was actually not just me that was selling these chocolates. There's a couple of youth in the area of Malton that were actually doing it as well, which were my friends. Okay. And you know what, we took advantage of the situation in the sense of, you know what, we couldn't get a job, right? So what do you got to do? You got to create an opportunity for yourself. So when we got that opportunity, we made sure we took, full force out of it. And, we were successful in doing that, but you can only do that for so long, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But selling chocolate was a great time, right?
Yeah.
You think about it, you're like, 14 years old, and you're making cash, right? And you're finding a way of bringing in income for yourself without having to ask your parents for anything.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was great. It was a great time. It was also a good learning lesson. Meaning it's great to always save your money for a rainy day. I definitely took advantage of that situation in the sense of, because I knew maybe my mother may not have lunch money for me the next day, I made sure I didn't go out and buy McDonald's 3-4 times out of that day.
Yeah.
I carried that money on to the next day or the following week.
Yeah.
I knew my mom wouldn't be able to pay for my basketball program or league this year. So I made sure I saved my money to buy my jersey and my shoes.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's a good lesson.
Yeah. So what are some practical like skill sets that you learned from that, just even selling chocolates on that small level, that you still use today?
Be consistent. Be consistent in what you're saying. Don't lie. Just be honest.
Yeah.
If people are not stupid.
Yeah. Because you see those kids all the time outside Walmart. Yeah. And they're like, boom, boom, and I'm just like, is this real? Are they just pocketing that money? Like, how does that actually work? Like, those things, are they part of like organizations, or like someone has like a lead or something? It
all depends. Everyone has their own connections to it.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it's illegal or illegal. It was just something we did, right? We had an opportunity, we did it, and as I said, we made the most out of it.
Yeah.
I would say the great thing I learned from selling chocolates would probably be, being consistent, going after what you want, set yourself a goal.
Yeah.
Right. I would tell myself, I need to get to make this much money. I need to sell this much chocolates by the end of the night. Right. And if I didn't get to that goal, I'll make sure, we double up the next day. Right.
Wow. So you're even setting goals at that level, in that small thing.
Yeah.
The reason I bring that up is, just seeing a lot of youth in this community, like, and I'm not trying to throw shade on specific things, but like even youth that are even into the drug business and selling drugs, like what hurts my heart is some of these guys or girls, they're so smart and they have actual skill sets of selling and business skills that in the right context and if directed properly, they could be like working on, Bay Street and all that kind of stuff. So, I think, why do you think, like, even if you were doing that, like, what kind of led you to where you are today? Like, were there, good influences in your life? Like, how did you end up where you are today?
I was fortunate enough not to have to sell drugs to survive. As I said, I had a lot of good people around me. Till this day, I have great mentors around me.
Yeah.
The great thing about me, I was a sponge. I was very good at being teachable. I learned a lot from people.
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions. To this day, I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
It's crazy because when I was in elementary school, I never used to ask any questions.
Yeah.
And I have my grade 3 teacher tell me, you need to speak more. And I swear after that, it just clicked in my head. I would ask questions all the time.
Yeah.
Now I love to talk, Yeah.
So, knowing some of your experiences, you worked as a recreation professional with MCC, you worked at Lowe's, PLASP, all that kind of stuff. Now that you're a real estate agent, do you think that these experiences were just for money or wasted experiences, or is there anything that you could take away from those?
It's crazy. We had a conversation about this like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, if you ever have a job that you hate, save your money. And I'm not saying, maybe someone else may say something different, but that's my reality. I think that, if you don't like something, you need to take away something from it. You need to benefit from it. And for me, my benefit from something that I don't like, especially from working for it, is money, right? So instead of me, buying all the glamorous things and, wasting my money doing nonsense, I just saved my money.
So at least you have something to take away where if it wasn't good, you're like, I gained something, even if it wasn't work experience.
Because the thing is, you're going to gain knowledge from anywhere you work, right?
Definitely.
We know that. That's mandatory, right? but what else are you taking from it?
Yeah,
Save
that's
your
true.
money.
And you know what? I think sometimes we always look at a job for something that we can gain out of it instead of, hey, maybe I needed to go through this job because I needed to learn that this is something I don't want to do, or these are, like I always say, failure is sometimes the best teacher, because well, now I know what type of leadership I want to be under. Now I know what type of schedule I need to work under, or maybe I need a job that's more flexible with my passions on the side, right? So I feel like even if you do get the money and stuff like that, but it's not always that the benefit is the teacher, but sometimes the failure, right? Or the bad choice, right? So considering that in mind, knowing you're a real estate agent, if you look at your pathway and where you came from, and you even did police foundations in 2011, right? Yeah. How did you end up in real estate? Because you're going from recreation to this to police foundations. Yeah. Society would say that's not like a typical straight way, but it's kind of like you did different things. Yeah. What did you always feel like you knew you wanted to be in real estate, or was it something that was more of a recent decision?
It was something I knew from the time I was in high school, actually.
Really?
Like 17.
Yeah.
I ended up doing police foundation is because my mom gave me a choice. Is either, you go to school or you get out of my house, right?
Yeah.
And my mom was very strict with me going to school because she didn't want me to grow up like she did, right? My mom didn't even complete high school. Yeah. Right? I don't even know if my mom completed middle school.
Oh, wow.
Because she had 11 siblings, and she was one of the older ones, so she had to take care of her siblings. So she made sure it was mandatory that me and my sister got our education. Yeah. So when I applied for college, I only had 3 choices: business, electrical engineering, or police foundation. So I was like, you know what? This is gonna be a nerdy answer, but like I used to watch First 48. I was okay. I was like, you know what? Why not?
Yo, I'm the same way. Like this is, you want to hear me? So, I was super into baseball. Wanted to be a baseball player. Realized that the amount of money and the commitment, I'd have to go down to the States to even be scouted. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Then my uncle on my dad's side, he's into electrical. He's an electrician, and I'm like, yo, this man's pulling like 6 figures a year. Like, I want to be like him. Every time we go over to his house, he'd have the best, he had the Xbox, the PlayStation, he had the nice cars. He has like a GTR and everything. And then I'm like, I want to be that. But I wanted to be it because of the lifestyle, right? And then I realized I'm like, yo, I'm terrible at math. And to be an electrician, you need to be good at math. Then I'm like, boom, I watched a show called Jag on TV, and it's about a Navy lawyer who's also a fighter pilot. And I'm like, yo, I want to fly like fighter pilots for Canada. And then I'm like, boom, that didn't work out. Then I'm like, I watched like Third Watch on TV, and I'm like, yo, I want to be a cop. Yeah. All the way to where I am as a youth worker. And the reason why I asked you that is because I always worked with youth, but I never knew I was going to be a youth worker. I always said, nah, like youth are miserable. Like that's not me, like boom, boom. But I just realized that sometimes our pathways aren't always straight, or they're not always like the way society wants us to do. But like I said, like sometimes I had to, get out of place to be rerouted into the right place. Exactly. Right. So
like for me, I probably wanted to do a career change probably 10 times in my life. Yeah. Like for me, even doing police foundation, I was working at the Malton Community Center, working with the youth. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a police officer. I never ever seen myself becoming a police officer. And no, that's not taking a shot at anybody that wants to become one. Everybody's different, and they have their own goals and plans in life. But that wasn't my plan. But however, I was like, you know what? I'm working with youth. How about I just become maybe like a probation officer, right? Or like maybe start a restorative justice circle. Yeah, right? Yeah. So I was trying to figure out ways of how I could combine my education with what I really wanted to do. Yeah. And working with Multan, with the youth in Multan, even though they're not all locked up or they have criminal records, there's some youth that come from rough situations, or they have rough behaviors. Definitely. And it definitely, my education with Police Foundation definitely helped me in situations. Especially with counseling. Right?
Yeah, definitely. So when you got into the field, or you're about to get into the field, because correct me if I'm wrong, but like the market of real estate agents, it seems to be saturated. Like everyone's popping off trying to do real estate. Yeah. Were there people that tried to convince you to not get into this field, and how did you like, make your way through that noise?
Out of 10 people, I would say 8 people that
Really?
convince me not to do
Wow.
it. Yeah, because number one is either because they're afraid of being self-employed and the fact that it's ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
Everybody looks at real estate agents having a glamorous life. They live, they live in big homes or like they have a BMW or a Benz. A lot of times that's just a persona that they put on, right? But you never know what somebody's really facing unless you're with them 24/7, right?
True.
So being self-employed, it's a risk, right? And then because there's like over 80,000 real estate agents, there's so much competition, right?
And that's within 80,000 within where? Like the GTA?
Within the GTA.
Wow, that's crazy.
But however, there's only one Sheldon Douglas, right?
All right, so, there you go.
That never stopped me. Very confident person. Fearless in a way. I don't really back down from a challenge.
That's awesome.
I like to challenge myself.
Yeah.
So real estate is something I definitely want to do since I was a kid in high school. And it's crazy. It took a friend to remind me that was one of my goals in high school. And then I had another friend that said, you know what? Maybe one day you should wake up and just go down and just apply.
Wow.
And I did that.
So they held you accountable.
Yeah. So once I applied, it was just like a dream come true because number one, when I look back, I wasn't really good with following rules in workplaces. Like I didn't like to be micromanaged.
For sure.
I didn't like to be put on time limits. I'm more of a person that's a freelancer. I like to do things when I need to do things.
Yeah, you have the entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah,
right?
And it's not that I'm unruly or I don't listen to people. It's just that like I have my own creative thoughts in my head and what I want to do.
Yeah.
And
we all thrive in different ways,
Yeah.
like in under different environments like that. I'm the same way. I'm a huge procrastinator, so like I need more time and a different type of work environment. I can't be like regimented with like this deadlines. I'm like, I'm gonna put out the work, but I'm gonna put quality and passion into it, right? So no, that's true, man. So how, now that you're a real estate agent, you're able to, so you love being in the community and you're community advocate, you love Malton.
Yeah.
How are you able to mix that with your love and passion for real estate?
What I try and do, I try to attend community events, making sure the awareness is that I'm out there, and it's not for me to just sell myself as a real estate agent, but to show people that, like, listen, I'm a community guy too, right? It's not about just making money, but it's about building relationships.
Facts,
and, like giving back to your community, because if I'm looking for you for money, then I'll never do any business, right?
Yeah, facts.
So it's just, as I said, building relationships, getting people to know who you are, right? I've been in this community for over almost 20 years now, right? So I'm pretty aware of what goes on in the community. I love knocking doors, even though sometimes people shut the door in my face or run me.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I'm sure that's a good feeling too. It's not to say that you weren't in your community before, you weren't involved, but to and if you guys ever seen this guy going around, has the nice suit and everything, like the nice nice uniform going, and he's just like boom, boom, boom. And it's for me, it's nice to see young black men as professionals and doing their thing. And two is you feel like you're able to connect with your community on a different level now, from a professional mindset, an entrepreneur mindset, and not just you're the other guy that I see at Walmart all the day. You're the realist. You're like our real estate guy from Malton, right? So,
like, your perception is a big thing. You know what I mean? Like if I was to come up to you with my pants sagging, or I'm wearing a double XL tee, and I was saying, hey, like, I'm a real estate agent, you should buy or sell through me. What is the chances of that happening, right? Unless you know me personally, right? So perception is a big thing. How you present yourself is definitely how people look at you. And
awesome. So how did you end up with the Brij Team? Like, was that something that you pursued, or it kind of came to you?
I pursued it. Well, anyone that knows Jay Brij Paul, he's
the man.
He's pretty known in Multan, right? He's been in the community for years, and I was seeing his for sale sign all over the place. I happened to be on Keenan Crescent in Multan. And I did all my real estate exams and everything, and I was like, you know what, let me give this guy a call. I gave him a call. He wasn't able to talk then, but eventually we had a conversation. He asked me to come in. I came in, and it's funny because he actually wasn't even taking any realtors on at that time.
Wow.
Right. But, I sat down with him. I interviewed with him, and I just explained who I am, where I'm from, like what's my purpose of why I want to join the Brij Team.
Yeah.
And he took me on right there and then.
Wow.
Yeah, he seen something inside of me,
That's
and
crazy.
he was like,
That's
"You're
a come
on
up
the
story
team."
for sure.
Like,
wow.
like I was so shocked. I was like, wait, am I on the team or am I not? Like,
Yeah,
I wasn't really too sure. But then,
Yeah.
like, I was pretty clarified once I started going to his trainings. He holds trainings at our office,
Okay.
and I knew, okay, yeah, I'm on the team. Yeah.
So do you think that like the first time he didn't answer your call, do you think like a lot of people drop off right then and are like, it's not the thing, but part of it is you kept, I guess persisting and making sure that you're following up. And I think a lot of young people these days, they don't get the job the first time, they don't get the call back the first time, boom, they're done.
No, he did answer my call. He just asked me to give him a call back.
Oh, okay.
So I made sure that I followed up and I called back, right?
Okay,
Because he's a master real estate agent. He's so busy, right?
Yeah.
So when I called him back and he took the time to talk to me, and he told me to come and see him, I came and see him, and then right there and then he gave me the job, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Without even like a formal resume or interview.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I like that because I know a few people who run their own companies and they're like, they don't even look at a resume ever. They look if they vibe with this person, if this person's serious. That's more important to them than what you can put as a Microsoft Word template.
Yeah.
Right. So for the individual interested in becoming a real estate agent, so let's say whether they want to do it independently or they want to go with a team, what are some practical tips? Like obviously your situation was specific.
Yeah.
But what are some general or practical tips you can give to people who are in the field, passionate just like you?
Yeah.
How can they get themselves hired?
Well, if you want to become a real estate agent, you're not necessarily getting hired, but a brokerage will take you on, right?
Yeah.
Because it's considered a partnership. So you're not actually working a 9 to 5. You're considered self-employed. So you interview for a bunch of real estate brokerages, and whatever one sounds good to you, they take you on.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah.
But my advice for any upcoming real estate agents is, you got to get your name out there, continue to work hard.
Yeah.
Don't give up, because it's really easy to give up in this business. They say like 90% of real estate agents give up in their first 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's a tough business. It definitely is, because you have to understand, like you're dealing with people's life investments.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
And there's other things that come with it. So you definitely got to make sure that you shine.
Yeah.
You go hard from the very
100%.
beginning.
Yeah. So what were your numbers looking like first year? Like were you did you come to a point where you're just like, man, I got to rethink this, or how did you do?
The beginning, it was pretty tough, right? You just first starting out, you're just getting a feel for things, you know. But after the first 3 months, 4 months probably, then things started really picking up. I started at a really tough time. I started in December.
Oh, and
November.
That's when no one's buying houses, right?
Yeah, so
Jeez.
the market is now cooling off, and last November, December was booming, right?
Yeah.
But that time the market was cooling off when I started. And
okay.
Yeah. And
so it doesn't go by season; just goes by just the trends, right?
It's typically seasonal.
Yeah.
But lately it's going by trends. Yeah.
Okay.
But I started at a slow time, so it was kind of like just learning the game, understanding what you're doing before you go out there and do it. So by the time I was ready to start selling property, I was ready to go. Yeah.
So with that, how are you successful as a real estate agent? Like what separates you from the 80,000 in the GTA? Why are people, when they want to go buy or to sell, why are they going to sell with Shell?
Number one, I'm well coached. I literally, like, Jay Bridgepal is like one of the biggest agents you'll hear about in our community, or even in the GTA, right? You probably hear him a lot on G98.7.
I seen him on the ad the other day.
Yeah, you'll see him. You might see him on a TV channel, right?
Yeah.
So I'm being coached by a master real estate agent. He tells me the ins and out. With me being only 2 years in the business, I've gained so much knowledge just by being around him on a daily basis. Wow. Right. The second thing I would say is that you gotta have a plan. And when you have that plan, you gotta be focused on getting to that plan.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna happen overnight.
Yeah.
Right. You don't become successful overnight. It takes time, but you can't give up. That's what will separate me from someone that just came into business.
Yeah.
And it's really worked out for me. Like I wouldn't say I had the same struggle as typical first year or two agents.
Yeah.
Because I left it in God's hands. I'd literally like pray every day about like what I want to accomplish in this business.
Yeah.
And even though I'm still pretty new to it, I was able to do well for myself, through prayer and hustle.
Definitely. I like that prayer. And hustle,
prayer and hustle. I was able to do a lot.
Yeah. So I noticed that like even just keeping up with you, like you still have a 9 to 5 while you're doing that, right? So, is a 9 to 5 for you like your fallback, or is it something that you're doing just to like why are you still in a 9 to 5 right now?
A 9 to 5 is not really a fallback for me. It's more so, as I said, I'm still pretty new to business.
Yeah.
So I'm easing my way out of that job, right? And when I know that I'm ready to go on my own, then I'll do it. Yeah. But the 9 to 5 is more so not even just for me to like make more money, but it's because I'm also passionate about it.
That's awesome.
I work with youth, right? So it's been something I've been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's not something where I can just get up and leave. I'm still helping out my community that way.
Yeah.
And also focus on my business.
100%. Yeah. That's awesome. And I always like to ask that question because I'm someone who I'm kind of realizing now that, and I probably said this in so many episodes, and you guys can like get at me in the comments for repeating it, but like your 9 to 5 doesn't have to always be your passion. You can be passionate, but it doesn't have to be your be all the end all. And I see you like as someone who's a community advocate, like doing that 9 to 5 job passionately and your real estate, but it doesn't mean that has to be your main source of income. Like being an entrepreneur, your revenue streams might be coming from 3-4 different things, but it's realizing, and that I feel like you said, being an entrepreneur might be better because you're able to work at your own pace, at your own schedule, with your own flexibility, as opposed to being stuck at a certain office or a certain job that's not making you happy, right?
And the thing is, like with real estate, a lot of times people do it part-time because they want to make the extra money.
Yeah.
But there comes a point in time where is either you give up that 9 to 5, or you stay a part-time agent, but you're not helping your clients to your best of your abilities.
Yeah.
So what I do, I'm slowly working less hours.
Yeah.
Right. I'm more focused on my real estate business.
Yeah.
Because eventually you have to make a commitment to either one or the other, right? And for me, I'm not going to waste my time going to school, to become a real estate agent and not commit to it.
Yeah.
Like if I fail, it's on me.
Yeah, for sure.
If I win, it's on me.
Yeah.
So that's what we're transitioning to.
Yeah. I like that mindset because you went all in. Like it doesn't mean that you're not still doing stuff, but like you said, if you fail, it falls on you. And I think that's what separates you from the pack from a lot of people is they want to like kind of like stick their foot in the water and not take the full plunge, right? But like you said, and I think that that's okay. Like I'm not speaking this over you, but in certain people's life, if you fail at something, you've learned that that's that. Maybe it couldn't even be that at this time it wasn't the right time, but even having the perseverance to start over again and rethink it, right?
Yeah,
so it's always a lesson, right? So what are some tips that you could give to our listeners and viewers who are, let's say, looking to buy their first home, so first-time home buyers? What are some practical tips you can give them, or things to be aware of when they're going to make that big decision?
First step, talk to someone that has knowledge in the business. A lot of times what people do is they talk to, no disrespect to anyone, but they talk to a family member, and the family member thinks they're an unlicensed real estate agent. Number two, you definitely want to get pre-approved. People talk about they want to buy a house, at a certain price range, but if you haven't been pre-approved yet, how you know what you're going to be qualified for? Yeah. So I think that's like the most important thing. Figure out what you qualify for. Yeah. And then you can take it from there, right? So sometimes people want to start off and say, oh, I want a detached home or a semi-detached home. But what about the condos? What about the townhouses? Like, do you see
watching too much property?
Yeah. Like, do you see the market right now? It's the condo market is booming. Yeah. Right? before, like, your parents would tell you never buy a condo.
Yeah.
No, this is a great time to buy condos.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
see, and without the right person feeding that right information into them, like, I guess people are like self-proclaimed or like they Google search it. And I'm a huge advocate of Google search, but there's some things in your life you need an expert to help you with.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So your favorite quote is the greatest. It's by the man Nelson Mandela himself.
Yes.
The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Why is that your favorite quote? What does that mean to you?
You know what? I put that quote actually on my desk in my office. You know, for days where, like, you know, sometimes you feel like there's days you're gonna feel like giving up, right? When you're going through a lot, right? But when you're falling, right? If you get up, you show how strong you are as a person, right? Because, you know, we battle with a lot of things. You know, we're only humans. You know, no matter what age you are, you can be 15 to 45 years old. We all go through stress, and I think it's important that you never give up. You know, especially if it's something that you want. Yeah. Right. And there's gonna be so many distractions in life, but if you fall, just understand, you know, you need to dust yourself off, get back up. Yeah. You know, it makes you even a stronger human being. Yeah.
So the reason why I segued with that is a lot of, like, for people who don't know you personally, they don't know that your mom actually passed away. Yeah. So that was a huge fall. How did you get back up from that, man? Like, I know like there's no like formula to get back up from that, but you're still such a successful guy. But if I didn't know you personally, I would have never been able to tell that you experienced that kind of loss in your life, because you don't show it. Like, on the you have the biggest smile in the world. No one would ever be able to tell. So how did you get up from that fall, man?
You know, growing up, everything was about my mom. Like, I just wanted to make my mom proud. And I know me being sad about it or crying about it every day, she definitely wouldn't want that. Yeah. And my purpose of life was my mom, you know, when I was a kid. And then when she passed away, I realized that, you know, my purpose is not that anymore. You know, my purpose is, you know, to make her proud. Yeah. And be as successful as I can. Yeah. You know, God blessed me with a wake up call about life. Yeah. At any given time, He could take it away from you. True. Right. So, you know, when you're on this earth, you know, you make sure you fulfill your purpose. I knew once the day my mom went down in the grave, that I was in this world on my own. And, you know, I had to make sure that I achieved my goals. Yeah. You know, if I don't get help, you know, well, if I do get help, you know, thank you. Yeah. But this is all on me, you know. I put that on my back, you know. Yeah. To make sure that I'll do well with myself. Because a lot of times they think, oh, if you're coming from a rough community, like, you know, you're gonna get into maybe selling drugs or, you know, get into gang banging or things of that sort. And that's not the way that you solve all your problems. Right? Yeah. Sometimes it's, you know, you do the opposite of what people think you're going to become or what you're going to do. Yeah. Right. You're living an example that you don't buy into the stigma. You don't buy into the typical path everyone falls into, because pain and you know, hardship is real. Right. Yeah. But it's just like you said, the way you can either be down there and keep down, or you can get back up. And getting back up doesn't always mean that you're not going to fall down again, but it's that active getting back up that strengthens and it helps you to persevere through most things, right? Because even with that, like, you know, your mom passed away, like you said, you had to live on your own. Like, now you're living on your own. Like like I give you a lot of credit for that, because, you know, I'm 25 and I'm like, yo, if that happened and both my parents died, like, yo, I can admit I'm not the most like mature person to be like, man, I mean, I think I'd be able to make it work, but I don't know that I have the resiliency that I think you have right now, and I really respect you about that. No, thanks. But, you know, she built me like this. You know, when we were younger, me and my sister, we were forced to go into the kitchen, you know, and learn how to cook, or do our laundry, you know. But I look at it like this, you know. I sat back one time in the hospital when she passed away. And I was like, you know, when she was bothering us to do all these things, you know, God was making her do these things to prepare us for this moment, right? Yeah. So that when she does pass away, you know, we're mature enough, we're responsible enough to take care of ourselves. Yeah, yeah. You know, so, you know, shout out to my mom.
Yeah, shout out to all the moms out there. Yeah. So you've touched a bit about it on the show, and something we always like to ask is, if any, what role has faith played in where you are today and just generally in your daily life?
Big role. I don't know what I would do without faith, right?
Yeah.
As you're talking about my life experiences, how many people do you know that walk out smiling every day, and like literally this is not a fake smile.
Barely, yeah.
This is like true happiness.
Yeah.
I had to learn to be happy and be content with, not having my mom in my life anymore.
Yeah.
But like through prayer from, my friends, family, like the great thing about me, I had a lot of support, right?
Yeah.
And like because of that, like it brought me closer to God. Right. I'm not saying I'm the most religious person or the most spiritual person, but sure. I believe that I have my own relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, amen.
And nobody can tell me any different.
Yeah. And I'm a huge proponent of that. If you haven't already talked in this podcast, is even whatever religion you are, it's relationship, right?
Yeah.
Because on this earth, the most authentic experiences we have are through relationships, not through contracts, right? So relationship over religion all day, man. So you talked about having good family and friends. You are someone who is a product of your environment. So who are 2 to 3 people that you can list off right now currently in your life that make you better at what you do?
I would say my sister. I would say I have more than 2-3 people. Like,
go ahead, name them.
I have so many.
The floor is yours.
Let me just say, like, the group of friends I have, my day ones.
Shout them out.
For sure. I there's too many to shout out. There's so many people that even my friends' parents play such a key role in my life, Like, I was just blessed to have a lot of love. I mean, a lot of people that love me, my family, my girlfriend is a big supporter of me. I shout her. I have to shout her out, but she definitely supports my dreams, and
awesome.
like, she has the utmost patience with me. So
yeah. That's actually interesting, because the life of a real estate agent isn't always like it's not a 9 to 5. 'Cause sometimes you're answering calls at like 12 in the night, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it takes a real patient woman to be able to deal with that sometimes, right? I mean, I know I can tell she releases you to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But it's not always easy, right?
Yeah, because also, like, she understands that, listen, like, if you want me to be happy, you have to allow me to be happy. And if you want us to be successful, like, you have to let me, like, for me, I'm a little bit old school.
Yeah.
That I shouldn't say
he's like backing up from that for a different type of show off camera.
But I'm the old school guy where, like, I like to be the breadwinner. Like, I'm the guy that goes out and I hunt and I fight for what's mine, right? And she has to allow me to do these things if she wants us to be successful. Right? And I just try to motivate her and influence her to also be passionate about what she really wants to do too. Right? And I show her, like, I give her examples of, like, myself or someone else that we know, and I say, you know what, this is what you can achieve if you just continue to put your mind towards your goals.
Yeah, definitely. So last question before we get into rapid fire, it's something I always like to ask, and it's not to say that you discount or discredit the things that have happened, but if you could go back, if you had a time machine, go back to grade 9, first day of grade 9 in Lincoln. What would you tell grade 9 Sheldon just about to enter high school? If you could warn him or tell him anything.
Push yourself, challenge yourself. Stay focused. Do not worry about the mind or the thoughts of somebody else. Focus on just being you and accomplishing your dreams. And I think like the reason I asked that is I feel like entering grade 9 is, it's not to say that those are your be all to end all years, but it's like some pretty intense years. Like going from middle school to, especially going from Morningstar to Lincoln, is a huge stark difference, right? I mean, like the first day I went to school, my mom told me, don't go to Western Mall on your lunch. What did I do? Go to Western Mall on my lunch. As I'm walking back, man's like, are you guys trying to buy weed? And like I was so sheltered, like to the point, not to a bad way, just because my parents really wanted to make sure that I was in good environments. Like when I was going home, when I was going to a friend's house, like she wanted to call their parents. Is there going to be a parent there? Like she
wanted to always. She always looked out for us like that. So when I seen that, I was like, yo, this is real, man. Like, it's real life. Like you're I don't discredit what youth go through because they're going through some serious stuff. I'm not saying it's all mature and everything like that, but sometimes they're going through some real stuff when they're in high school.
They say like the average youth, by the time they wake up, they're already stressed out about the things that happened last week.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So it's sad that like adults will look at a youth and be like, oh, you don't have nothing to worry about. You're not going through anything. You know what I'm going through?
Yeah. The anxiety level is different.
It's totally different. That's why you have kids, committing suicide, or feeling like they're being neglected because they're not being taken seriously.
Yeah.
Like even young adults, like imagine somebody not buying a house with you. Like I'm a realtor, like not buying a house with you because of my age, but not because of my knowledge.
Wow.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, that's true.
So you rather go to somebody because they're 45 years old, but they don't have any knowledge in the business, and then they screw over your life investment.
Wow.
To me, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
So age is just a number.
Yeah. All right, so we reached that point in the show where it's rapid fire. I'm actually interested to see what Sheldon's answers are because he's like a super like quotesy facts guy. So I want to see what his answers are.
Okay.
All right, Pepsi or Coke?
None.
You guys are too healthy for me out here. Advil or Tylenol?
None.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
DC or Marvel?
None.
His questions are gonna be like none for everything. Oh my gosh. Best thing about being a real estate agent?
Helping people reach their dreams.
All right. Do you prefer the selling or the buying portion of being a real estate agent?
Both.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's equal. Favorite place you've traveled, local or international?
I would say probably Jamaica.
Jamaica. All right. Yeah. Favorite book you read or are reading?
Contagious by Jonah Berger.
All right.
It's great for marketing and just knowing how the world thinks.
Okay.
I'm reading also a book by Napoleon Hill. Oh my gosh, totally forgot what it's called.
All right, we'll check it out.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
I just started reading it.
I like that. I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah. Caribbean Star or Mr. Jerk? Dre made sure I put this one.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to say what's it called? Willie's Jerk.
All right.
Yeah, even none of those ones. I'm gonna say Willie's Jerk.
We got him, Mr. Jerk. Yeah. All right. Favorite song right now that you're listening to?
Real Big by Nipsey Hussle.
We were talking about this. You're a huge you like Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, I'm a huge Nipsey Hussle fan. Yeah.
So who is an influencer that everyone watching right now should go on their Instagram or YouTube and follow?
Gary V.
Gary V. Yes. Yeah. Shout out Gary V if you ever see this podcast.
And also Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas changed my life, man. Yeah. Honestly.
Right. Yeah. Martin Lawrence or Fresh Prince?
Fresh Prince.
Okay. That was another Dre one. He said you choose Martin, but whatever. Yeah. Top 3 rappers of all time.
I'm gonna say Jay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Pac, Big. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Most influential person on your life.
The most influential person probably that is my mom. Yeah.
If you could go back to a single point in your life, what day would that be? Just to revisit it for one day.
My high school graduation.
Really?
Yeah, because not to get anybody teary-eyed or anything like that, but like I think that was the most happiest my mom was ever with me, like to see her son graduate, on time, and like, that night I actually got a scholarship from Lincoln called Yes We Can.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So it's like she was so happy, like she went home just talking to her friends on the phone, saying how proud she is of me, and I respected that.
Yeah, because it's like your kid, even though not entirely, but your kids are like a testament to like you did a good job, parent, right?
Yeah.
So if there was a movie on your life, what would the title read?
My Journey.
And if they couldn't get you to play it, like they just wanted to cast someone, which actor are they casting you? Who's your lookalike?
Or
who would you want them to play you? It doesn't have to be entirely.
obviously I'm gonna say like Will Smith.
Will
I want
Smith,
like
all
the
right.
top male actor, but hey, we don't even look alike. But
That's cool.
you know, or even Jamie Foxx.
All
you know?
right,
Yeah,
okay. If you could have, what are you, a coffee drinker, tea drinker? What kind of hot beverage you like?
I'm more so of a tea drinker.
All right, so
Earl
if
Grey.
you could have tea with anyone, like it could be a family member, a celebrity, whatever, from any point in history, even before you were born or whatever, who would that be?
I'd probably be Nelson Mandela.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's very a big influence in my life too. Just knowing his story and what he had to go through.
yeah.
And I think like if he can go through that, I think any of us can accomplish anything we want.
Wow.
Right? To
Yeah.
be imprisoned for that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
I'd be a lion.
That's what John said too.
Yeah.
Name a song that puts you in your feelings.
Puts me in my feelings. Nipsey Hussle, Bigger Than Life.
All right, yo, I gotta check out Nipsey Hussle
Yeah.
because you're like a hardcore supporter.
Yeah.
If you were stranded on an island, what two things would you want with you?
Poutine.
Poutine.
And probably strawberry kiwi juice.
It's all food. He wants not even like a life raft or like
Nah.
Poutine.
Once I'm full, because look at it this way, once I'm full, I got that energy. I can do whatever I need to do
Build a house
to survive.
or build a raft or whatever.
Yeah.
So what style did you rock that you look back now and wish you never rocked?
I'd probably say like 3XTs.
Oh my god, yo, there's some yo.
Yeah.
I think I knew an episode just where we're wearing like 5X tall tees.
Or like pants in my socks, Yeah.
See? Okay, I like that because Chris said that too, and John's like, nah, I never rock with that. I'm like, I'm like, man, and then like Dre was laughing in the back. I'm like, yo, but like, I swear I wasn't the only one that did it. He's
I
like,
killed that, man.
Yeah. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
To help anybody. I mean, to help anybody that needs my assistance.
Like unlimited ability to help.
Yeah, like a limited ability. Yeah.
So, I don't know if this will still be relevant by the time your episode comes out, but and I don't know if you checked it out, but who had the hotter diss track, Drake or Pusha T?
You know what? I'm gonna go with my boy Drizzy because we're from the
All
same
right.
city, so I gotta represent.
What job would you be horrible at?
I'd be horrible at being like a software technician.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like these gadgets
Troubleshooting and stuff.
troubleshooting, I'm the worst.
Oh,
I'll just look at it and be like, listen, let me call somebody. Like, and the thing is, I'm a very handy person.
Yeah.
So for me to like just walk away and not do nothing about it, then
So you're the type of guy that gets like Geek Squad from the Best Buy if you need it.
if I needed it, yeah. Or I just throw away the computer, buy a new one.
Wow. If you were playing a pickup game at MCC
Yeah.
of ball, you could choose any 4 players throughout NBA history. Who are you picking for your 5 squad? So you and 4 other players.
I wouldn't even pick any NBA players.
Really?
I pick
Who you
guys
picking?
from my neighborhood.
Who are they?
My original squad, we used to play 4-on-4 basketball in high school.
Right.
I'd pick DJ Big C.
All right.
I got Briscoe.
Okay.
And my boy Jason Chata.
All
Yeah,
right.
we used to do some work in the community
All
center.
right. What show ended that you wish had another season? Doesn't air anymore.
Well, Power, but it has a season coming up.
Yeah.
But right now, I guess they have it on hold. But Power is a great show,
Can't wait
man.
till yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. When you die, what would you want your biggest legacy that you leave behind to be? When people remember Sheldon, what would you want them to say?
That he was a hardworking individual that pushed himself to like unlimited limits. If that's even even makes sense.
I
you
like
know?
that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lastly, something I always like to ask: if your life was a book, and it had a certain title or whatever, what's the title of the current chapter of your life right now?
The come up.
The come up.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, so we've reached that point in the show where it's guest corner. So it's your opportunity to shout out anything you want to do, whether it's plugging your social media or anything you got going on, projects, business, whatever. And then maybe if you want at the end just to give our listeners, our viewers, just a little last word of encouragement. So Sheldon, the floor is yours.
Shout out to the Brij Team. Shout out to my family, my friends. Shout out to Shell Douglas on my Instagram, and Sheldon M Douglas on my Twitter.
All right.
And Sheldon Douglas on my Facebook.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So and anyone wanting to sell or buy, they can contact you.
Yeah, they can contact me at any time. You know what? It's not about you just buying a home with me. It's about, you know, the longevity of the relationship.
Facts. I like
so
that.
You know, even if you buy a home with me, don't think I'm leaving your life. We're in this together for eternity.
Yeah, we're living testaments. The DeSilva family's living testaments to that.
You know,
so that wraps it up for the show today. Yeah. But and I'm gonna leave links to everything Sheldon has going on, so you guys can click those directly, or if you want to connect to him. But one of the things I like doing before I end my show is just giving you guys a word of encouragement. And I know you're not someone who seeks the praise or you know, adoration of people, but I just wanted to big you up because number one, I think your level of humility is something that I look at my life and I'm just like, yo, you're someone who doesn't like broadcast your moves. You make your moves in silent, and your actions are like, they speak for themselves. And I know that sounds cliche to say, but like, you're actually living that. Like, I know when we were talking about social media, you're like, you don't like to put too much stuff out there, whatever. But like, people think that social media is the only tell if you're actually doing good in your life, when you're just like, nah, I don't subscribe to that. I'm doing good for my life. Come and have a conversation when we sit down, have a coffee with me. Like, your level of humility, I think, is just going to elevate you in so many different ways. Like, people will see how you're humble, and they're going to be like, I think that's probably one of the ways too why Jay, you know, likes you on your team, is because you're not someone who's like show off. Like, you're a hard worker, but you're not going and showboating it, or you're not going and like being like this, but your level of humility, I think, will get you into some big doors. I think your desire to get better each day is something that we can all learn from. Like, whether it's, you know, you're showing us your story on your fitness, or you're doing something like that, like your desire, if it's praying or even in those tough moments, is going to be something that's going to help you to continue to excel. Because people think that you have to keep doing the same thing every day. But you can be getting better at this area of your life or this area of your life, but each day I know you're getting better at something. So 100%. I admire that. Another thing is, and you mentioned it before, I admire your faith in God. Like, when everyone is putting their like the reason why they're at somewhere in them, you're putting it first in God. And I feel like because you've done that, God's just going to continue to pour out and bless you and give you a double portion.
He's already blessed me in like ways I'd never imagined. I just feel like where you are right now, like, I don't even know if you're ready for where you're about to go. Like, God is just going to continue to elevate you and elevate you and elevate you. You're going to need a PR person next time you come on the show. Like, I'm going to have to go through them. Another thing is that you're selfless. Like, I know that if someone's asking you to do something, or even just the nature of being a real estate agent, there's some days where like you're working towards that final paycheck, but you're not getting paid in the middle of it for that. You're doing all that work. You're making these meetings. You're like, you know what? I'll put in some of the, like the stuff you do sometimes behind the scenes that people don't see. We've seen that. And I just want to thank you for your selflessness, because not a lot of people are like that, man. A lot of people are individualistic. You can still be the person who's like, you know, you're about your money, but I know that it's more the reputation experience at the end of the day. You want people to be happy, not just to be like, you know, I get all this money at the end of the day. The thing is, money will come, man. You know, it as you talk about legacy, right? You know, if you treating people bad, that just hinders your legacy. Right. And at the end of the day, I'm someone that has feelings and emotions, and I'm someone that has family members that's been ripped off by real estate agents, or, you know, we're not getting the best service from real estate agents. So why would I repeat that? Right. I realized when I stop focusing on money, the money will come. You know. So I just focus on, you know, making sure that I take care of my clients, being the best individual real estate agent I can become. Right. I think that's the most important thing, because all that stuff will come later on. You know, I'm one thing I'll say about myself, I take a lot of risks, because, you know, I never came from much. Right. So for me to go back to somewhere that, you know, I already know. Even though it's not going to happen, but I'm not afraid for it to happen.
Like, what do you got to lose, right?
You know.
And lastly, you know, before we conclude, I mentioned it before, that Sheldon Douglas smile. Like, you exude positivity. Like, I can't be around you and be depressed or be mad about my situation, because you're always there with an encouraging word, and just your energy is something that, like, people are drawn to you. But overall, man, I'm just super happy to be on the sidelines, seeing where your life is, and being one of those people that could be like, yo, I know that guy. I know Sheldon Douglas. We were doing that at the awards, and we were like, yo, is that Sheldon? Oh, take his name. Is that Sheldon Douglas? Like, yo, I'm telling you, you're gonna pop off one day, and you're gonna need a PR person just to get a hold of you. But I'm glad to be part of the journey, and I want to see you. I love. I'm the kind of person where I'm like, yo, I've grown to not just wanting to see myself do well, but I love seeing people from Malton, from my community, doing well that I know personally, and not just like, oh, you got the job, but like you feel joy in what you do, and that makes me happy. So
yeah, it's crazy when you get to a certain point in your life. You know, well, some people don't get to that point, but what's the point of envying somebody? Like, you know, honestly, I'm like everyone's biggest cheerleader. Yeah. Like when you told me about this podcast, like I was so happy. I'm so geeked up for you, man. Yeah. Like, and like this is genuine. Like I don't sit around and I'm being envious around. I mean, what people have or what you know. Like everyone's time is different, right? You know, you may have this podcast popping off, you know, and I may not be doing well as a real estate agent, which that's not the case, but you know what I mean. But I'm saying that everyone has their time, you know, and you just got to sit down there sometimes and be that cheerleader to celebrate it. You know, it's your time to come off the bench, and you know, he turned from water boy to, you know, that quarterback on that field, right? Or
selling chocolates to selling homes. Right?
Exactly. You know, that's a big I
think
line.
I found my title: selling chocolates to selling homes. All right, man. I just wanted to thank you for being on the show,
appreciate
and
it, man.
thanks a lot, Sheldon. Appreciate it.
Respect.